I hope you can see my screen well. Okay. Again, thank you for joining us, partners. And again, I'm Justin. I'm from Dell Technologies. I'm part of the data center and compute solutions organization. No, basically, we handle our server networking and storage solutions within Dell Technologies. And I have two topics lined up for you for today's session. And one is, of course, as you know, the next generation PowerEdge servers that we released starting March 17 of this year. And that's a total of 17 different platforms. And it's the first time in terms of technology release within Dell Technologies that we are providing our customers, of course, you as our partners, both benefits of both advantages of Intel and AMD platforms. And at the latter part of my presentation, I'll also be sharing with you the relatively new mid-range storage array that we have in our portfolio as well. That's architected for today's data era, which is PowerStore. No? And how these two will be our uh, technologies, our solutions in order to win the workloads of our customers, no? And all of the requirements within. So we really start with a standard view that comes out of our advantage, as Dell Technologies, which fundamentally declares that today's work conditions remain unprecedented, right? The problems of our customers have not changed. No? On the contrary, despite the pandemic, over and under provisioning, capex budget strains, human resources, cloud complexity, all of these types of challenges, of business and IT is still there. No, but um what's coming out of this? No, really, in the conversations that we're having with our customers, no, the idea is that IT departments that we speak to, no, they understand that they need to focus on certain uh, areas within their organization in order for them to drive value in the business. No? So that's a conversation that we take now because value is a very big word. Okay, and that driving value for the organization itself, what is really driving the value for an organization is we see that it's three things. No? And the first one is how IT will optimize operations. No? Everyone sees the everyone sees automation, as a necessity when it comes to data center equipment. No, and that capacity, the growth of complexity, the expansion of equipments, automation is really an essential piece within the data center. No, the how fast they can deliver resources, how efficient they can manage infrastructure, provision services, how fast they do those operations will determine their transformation projects. And any impact, to that type of operation will have an effect on the entire value chain, within their organization. As you know, during the pandemic, we see a lot of customers also leveraging the public cloud. Everyone saw the value in public cloud as a resource. Maybe simply because you can't visit your data center as much as you were able to before. No? And nowadays, most organizations use more than one cloud. And according to IDC, no, majority of organizations worldwide will have this mandate to support both on-premise and hybrid cloud, or both on-premise and off-prem, where they need to support hybrid cloud environments. No? And we understand that islands of clouds, each managed separately, is very inefficient. It adds another level of overhead on top of the complexity of IT. Now, that means organizations will see the value of both data center and public cloud. And to reduce the complexity, they need to pull the operations together, right? They need to have consistent operations, consistent infrastructure, across on-prem and off-prem environments. IT needs a way to embrace that cloud is not a destination for their workloads, but it should be an operating model, a consistent operating model across a hybrid environment. Okay, that will basically require common virtualized or containerized infrastructure, and a common operating experience. All because of these new workloads that they're trying to uh, adapt in their organization. Uh, Transformation is all about innovating new business processes, new transactional and analytical workloads, and getting the most value from these workloads will require new levels of performance, scalability, efficiency, and as well as efficiency. No, uh, that only new generations of technologies, modern infrastructure can provide. And actually, COVID crystallized the need for change for us in Dell Technologies. Uh, uh, the need to innovate on our solutions, not to provide to our customers. I mentioned earlier that you can't visit your data center as much as you were able to before, right? As for our customers. And actually, the levels of automation that we've been uh, providing to our customers before were not as implemented as much. And actually, if it were, no, IT departments would have been fully functional even they had to work from home because of these different levels of automation, right? That they can do with their Dell infrastructure. Okay? And what they really need to do is to deliver IT with the agility of cloud, and basically it should be an automated delivery process of IT services. How organizations will just swipe their card to acquire a cloud service. It should be of the same way as how they can deliver IT on premise, right? Having that agility of cloud, but within the on premise itself. And they should also achieve outcomes for any of their workloads anywhere, okay, regardless of the infrastructure. So basically, there's two overarching desired infrastructure outcomes here. One is having a modernized data center. And a modernized data center is simply based on technology, that can support their workloads, both traditional and modern. And also, there should be automation, that will enable operations to focus on consumption, consumption, rather than just building and maintaining infrastructure, right? And secondly is a hybrid cloud environment, accelerating hybrid cloud, which is based on consistent virtualized infrastructure, and most importantly, a consistent cloud operating model, across clouds and on-premise data centers. And we see that from PowerEdge servers, no, we see that customers will get to achieve those two outcomes by leveraging, of course, servers as servers becoming hyper converged, no, servers becoming ready architectures or infrastructure solutions, and also achieving these two as well with uh, storage solutions as well, that builds our uh, Dell Technologies portfolio. So in Dell, we see that our customers will be able to take full advantage of the latest technology advances. They can also make steps towards full infrastructure automation, right? And be able to achieve confidence, right? Through systems and software, and as well as having security designed within the system itself, and security being as a priority to have within the infrastructure. And we simply provide actionable items here. We provide three messagings here that will help our customers achieve these three. And it's PowerEdge becoming the innovation engine of our customers. And it revolves around our three pillars. It's somewhat similar to the messaging that we have in previous generations, and we kind of renamed them in the release of the next gen PowerEdge servers. No? And the three key pillars is very simple. It's having adaptive compute that will be able to support traditional and modern workloads. No? Can support today's and future workloads of the customer. No? Second is having autonomous compute infrastructure that will provide different levels of automation from from partial to full automation of the infrastructure. No? And actually automation, systems management, no, having the capability to have a software manage the infrastructure effectively will create a third pillar that we call proactive resilience. So it creates the third pillar where the infrastructure is much more secure, no? It's much more resilient, no, from attacks, no, from threats, no, because of these automation and systems management software. No? It provides a much more robust infrastructure, no, for us because of these automation capabilities. And really just to dig in deeper, no, to each and one of these, no, starting off with adaptive compute. And adaptive compute is all about PowerEdge server portfolio having workload focused platforms. I mentioned before that the release, this is the largest release that we have as far as servers is concerned. It has 17 platforms, today, where Intel and AMD is sharing the same stage of this release. And it goes from servers focusing on workloads. It could be servers focusing on general purpose workloads like virtualization, business applications, no, uh, going to specialized use cases like GPU optimized environments. So we have servers that supports massive GPU footprints for high performance computing, artificial intelligence, data analytics, right? And it goes from workload focused platforms all the way to environment specific platforms. So we actually created platforms that are optimized for edge use cases, optimized for enterprise server requirements outside the data center, near the edge, no? Outside the comforts of the hot and cold aisle. So it now could be focused on workloads, and it can also focus on a environment specific uh, use case, right? And also integrating latest technologies. No, it's not just only about having the latest Intel processor, latest AMD processor, no, the GPUs within the server. No, it's not just about having those high performing components placed in the server, but helping our customers run these use cases. The use cases that require GPUs, no, high-end processors, scalable memory and storage, no, helping our customers run their workloads in a validated and safe environment, no, where their workloads can run in an optimal fashion. Okay? And also helping our customers find their success in edge. We see a lot of edge use case nowadays from retail, manufacturing, oil and gas, healthcare, telco, right? And all of these edge requirements demands a specific type of platform that they can run in optimal fashion outside the data center. So again, showing you this, sorry, this slide of our servers running on different types of workload areas, right? I mentioned earlier that we have GPU optimized platforms. And when we talk about servers being servers, we see servers providing acceleration for applications. But this is where we see extreme acceleration support for the most demanding workloads of our customers. No? And that's the R750XA and the XE8545, right? And talking about environment specific platforms, no, edge and telco, no, that basically requires enterprise server environments outside the comforts of the data center. Those are our XR series. And you know about all of these mainstream PowerEdge servers like the R7s, the R6, no, both AMD and Intel, right? And these are what we commonly use in the data center, okay? For the most common workloads that our customers have. So when they're trying to standardize their infrastructure, when they're trying to modernize their infrastructure, like using virtualization, hyper-converged, or converged infrastructure and server consolidation. Now, these are the common platforms that excels in those types of requirements. Okay? And we actually introduced a scale optimized platform. No? The scale optimized platform is intended for customers in the middle of those entry level requirements and the high end requirements, right? And we see, I mentioned earlier all about the challenges of over and under provisioning infrastructure. No? And that infrastructure should be optimized. So this bridged the gap between entry level and high end, so the scale optimized XS platforms, no, to address more customer requirements. Not only to address, but to address them in an optimal fashion. Okay, and they span across all of these workload requirements that we see in today's data center. Again, from modernizing infrastructure using hyperconverged virtualization, no, containers, VDI. No, these platforms, these general purpose platforms, provides those levels of optimization, no, for those workloads. No, and on that infrastructure, no, on that modern infrastructure, they run these business applications. And some organizations are now integrating capabilities like data analytics, no, that demands massive IOs, massive storage capacity, no performance, no, all equal in terms of resources, no, and integrating or uh, incorporating the benefits of AI, no, machine learning, no, implementing high performance compute applications, no, all within that environment, no. And talking about modernization, talking about all of these accelerated performance, the reason why our customers are able to put all of these performance onto their servers, like putting all of these memories, storage, high-end CPUs, GPUs, no, that will provide the highest level of performance to their applications. It's all about our capability to manage power and thermal as well. No? Performance is one, but there should also be optimization within having all of those performance. No? That's the reason why they're able to put all of these components within the server, no, and still be able to run their data centers, no, in an efficient manner, no, in a lower OPEX environment. No, simply because of our capability to manage actually the consumption and as well as the airflow. So these technologies, these innovations that we have in the server started started with our MVC, or basically our multi-vector cooling. So actually it's now on a I believe it's on a 2.0. It's on a version 2 right now with the 15th generation servers, the next gen. No, it's all about how we design the architecture of the server itself. No, where we can optimize the airflow pathways within the server, right? No, the servers have a large capability to accommodate airflow. So it has a large capacity of airflow that can accommodate, but it doesn't need to use as much as it can. It will only use as much as the user wants to. No, it's because they can manage, they can monitor, no, they can configure policies on how the server will be able to control power and thermal metrics. Okay? We're also talking about the next one, the Dell Direct Liquid Cooling, no, or DLC. DLC, basically direct liquid cooling. We're expanding this to the mainstream platforms that we have in Dell as far as server is concerned. So we're expanding this onto the R7s, to the R6, both Intel and AMD mainstream platforms, that they will be able to support liquid cooling, no? On the CPU architecture. Okay? And we provide this unique component of Dell within the CPU. That's the leak sense capability, and it's how we are able to provide uh, information to our customers to provide actionable items whenever there's a leak within the cold plate. No, and if there's a leak, it will be presented to iDRAC. It will be captured by Open Manage, and then it will be alerted to the customer, and then uh, they will be able to either continue to run the server or migrate the workloads to a different server because of that leak. So it's all about that type of capabilities that we provide to them, right? So these optimization solutions, so these are all the reason why our customers are able to have this much acceleration, within their server. So second is the autonomous compute infrastructure. And autonomous compute infrastructure is all about our systems management software. It's all about the automation features. Excuse me, beyond COVID. Okay, it's all about intelligent systems that work together that will provide rapid transformation and also productivity, no, to uh, to IT departments. No, and in automation, we actually have a vision uh, or uh, or a roadmap on how our customers are implementing automations. No? They're implementing different levels of automation. No, in most cases, you'll have this operator assisted or the level one, which is basically being able to implement a base management controller, in order to have the ability to implement configurations, no, implement scripts, no, and leverage APIs for lifecycle management. No, we have partial automation that has a much more advanced lifecycle automation capability, no, where customers can set policies that can be executed so that systems can manage themselves. And we also have conditional automation. A good example of conditional automation is our integrations with Microsoft, with VMware, on how we can actually upgrade both hardware and software, no? On how we can manage the life cycle of both the servers and the hypervisors or the operating systems. So that's a good example of conditional automation. And there's also high automation. Now, high automation talks about management systems that can connect to cloud services. A good example of this is Cloud IQ. No? Cloud IQ is a cloud-based uh, uh, monitoring software, or it's a cloud-based management software that has analytics embedded to it. It has machine learning capabilities embedded to it. No? And it actually gathers information to the machine, to the hardware, no? In order to provide self-optimization, no? Self-service, no? And provides actionable items to the IT department on what they need to do on their server based on the analytics. No? And the end goal here is full automation. Leverage that full automation. And full automation is all about self-optimizing, self-remediating, and self-updating infrastructure. Now, it's management system that requires zero maintenance after deployment, or it's infrastructure that provides the highest levels of SLAs, no, and the most desired outcome. So the full automation okay, is again all about having rapid provisioning. So at the heart of this message is our open managed enterprise. So if you're a Dell user, you know all about Dell Technologies portfolio. You know a thing or two about open manage. And open manage is optimized, for PowerEdge servers. It basically manage the server throughout its whole life cycle. No? And the life cycle starts from rapid provisioning. It's all about having fast time to consumption. No? We have capabilities like zero touch provisioning where you can basically image multiple servers, image configurations, no, and be able to deploy a template across multiple servers all throughout. Okay. And self-healing. So self-healing is all about its capability to protect the customers in different states. It's all about being able to provide actionable items or actionable uh, or recommendations to IT departments in different states of threats. Right? They'll be able to be alerted when there's a threat. They will be able uh, to configure if there's a non-compliant system, and they will be able to recover if the threat already happened. It's all about having those remediation capabilities, no? That can be built in with analytics or simple reporting, no, of the software. Okay? And there's also self-optimizing where workload is optimized based on configuration profiles, and self-maintaining or policy-driven autonomous operation. Okay. And these types of automation, where we let software do the repetitive tasks, where we let software do the monitoring, and we let software alert us, when there's something that we need to change within the infrastructure. So it creates this last pillar of being more resilient. No, it's all about the last pillar that 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 is proactive resilience. No, and the most basic type of security is having security on the infrastructure level, right? No, we see thousands, millions of dollars being spent on software security, network security, no, and having security on the hardware side, on the server side, is something that we believe that should always be factored in. It should be globally available, no? And it should be a built-in, an integrate or not an integrated, but yeah, a built-in functionality, built-in attribute of the server itself. So we define proactive resilience as all of these systems and software that is designed for secure interactions, right? It's all about the capability to anticipate potential threats, no? uh, recover from threats, no? And also be provided with recommendations on what to do if there's a potential threat as well. Okay, and at the heart of this message is, of course, the same: the systems management software. No, we protect them from end-to-end server lifecycle, no, from the start of manufacturing, no, from the source of the subsystems, no, from the design stage of the hardware, by having all of these silicon root of trust, having this firmware protection and the likes. And these are all brought to our customers uh, by using the iDRAC component. So iDRAC is something that's always built in, regardless of the form factor, regardless of the price band, or regardless of the type of server that they're trying to deploy. iDRAC is always there. And these types of security capabilities are uh, all within iDRAC. Okay. So from physical level access, no, like chassis intrusion detection, protecting access to the server in a software level, like there's simplified two-factor authentication. Okay. The server can actually monitor itself if there's any non-compliant uh, configurations. No? A customer can create a policy, a baseline, no? And then iDRAC will be able to monitor if there are any drifts or changes to that policy or baseline. And it will not only alert the customer, but it will provide the customer with the steps needed in order to uh, make that system compliant again. Okay. In all of these, in the next generation PowerEdge servers, we're not removing anything. No? We have the same portfolio of towers, rack servers, modular systems or the blade servers. Okay. And of course, the new platforms of Edge and Telco, uh, uh, specialized GPUs. No? We have all of these platforms. The largest server release, no, in the server side. No, we have all of these technologies within the PowerEdge portfolio. No? And those three pillars, adaptive compute, autonomous compute infrastructure, and the proactive resilience, spans across and is available globally, no, in this portfolio. Okay. So server is the PowerEdge servers is a big piece of Dell Technologies infrastructure solutions. There are a lot of use cases and uh, applications of the PowerEdge servers. And we know that Dell Technologies offers a complete portfolio of infrastructures, no? That includes hardware and software solutions spanning across servers, no, storage, data protection, as well as networking. No? And another thing that we have is, of course, storage. No? Uh, One of the things that I would also like to talk about with you here is storage. Now, we heard about what's new with servers. And then, of course, another piece of the data center, which is storage. Okay? And it's all about today's data era, right? Uh, we know that as we enter the data era, there's a combination or there's massive amounts of data and technology, no, that we can leverage, no? And uh, in today's environment, we know that there are more data types that exists, right? We have block, we have file, we have object, we have containers. We have a lot of these data types, and uh, these requirements, the infrastructure required to support these types of data, varies widely, right? And second is in the data era is operations as well. As I mentioned earlier, IT organizations are expected to operate with the same levels of agility, with the same level of economics as public cloud. They must continuously evolve, to meet the demands of their data center and business. So leading up to the data era, there has been a focus on infrastructure, in order to meet these demands. Within the data center, we have these purpose-built storage arrays. Okay, and these storage arrays, they've evolved over the years, to address many challenges created by data. The current generation uh, will provide innovations like higher levels of protection, efficiency, diversity. It will provide higher levels of performance, capacity, and value in order to keep pace, in today's data growth and the diversity of data. Okay. No, however, due to the sheer volume and diversity of data, most organizations, most of our customers, they find that there is no single infrastructure, that there's no one appliance, that can address all of these requirements. So they often utilize different architectures, no, different technologies that create silos of IT resources. That becomes an overhead for IT, and all of them being managed and consumed independently. So to keep pace with these demands, okay, the next evolution of storage arrays, okay, will continue to focus on reducing that complexity created by infrastructure diversity, no? And it will provide more agility to IT. So in order to deliver enterprise grade on-premise storage solutions with the flexibility of cloud, no, modern storage arrays need to have an architecture that's highly adaptable. No, it should have automation, okay, automation then, okay, intelligent, and it should be simple to operate. Okay, so modern storage arrays needs to be more flexible. It should be uh, it needs to integrate as well to existing IT operations. So this will ensure that operations will be consistent across infrastructure, both data center, edge, public cloud, for a true hybrid cloud experience. So in Dell, we believe that storage, a new type of architecture and approach is required. Okay, there should be a new type of technology to support these types of demands, and that is basically introducing PowerStore. Okay, so PowerStore is that it's that or that storage array built for the data era, designed for the data era. And PowerStore has three pillars. Meron din siya sariling three pillars. And that's being data centric, or it's basically designed to optimize system performance, to provide scalability and storage efficiency, and be able to support any workload. Okay. So I mentioned earlier that organizations, customers, they're using different infrastructures for different workloads, right? That creates silos, that creates complexity. But PowerStore is designed to support any type of workload without compromise. Okay, intelligence. So there's automation as well that will enable health analytics, monitoring, troubleshooting the environment, and much more adaptable. So it's an adaptable architecture, no, that will enable mobility, flexible deployment models, and provide uh, flexible upgrades for next generation storage solutions as well. So let me give you a closer look at each of this. Okay. So first is the data centric. So data centric is all about PowerStore being capable of supporting any workload. So it supports any workload by delivering this unified storage. So may it be physical or virtual, may it be applications and database, uh, block or file, container based, no, all in that performance optimized appliance. Okay, the performance optimized appliance is leveraging uh, NVMe storage. Okay, and the appliance can either scale up, how you can traditionally expand storage by adding more drives. And it can also scale out by adding more controllers to the environment, scaling both performance and capacity at the same time. Okay. And PowerStore is enabled with always on inline data reduction. So it's a capability to maximize that all flash storage by leveraging on inline data reduction service that provides a guarantee of 1:4. So if you have 10 terabytes, that's basically a 40 terabyte effective capacity. Just to give you an example. And that data reduction can go up to 1:20, depending on the type of data that the customer is managing. So it maximizes the storage footprint by leveraging those data reduction services that is always on with PowerStore. So second is intelligent. So driving automation and operational efficiency across the management environment is a top priority, no, that you've seen in both servers and storage, right? Programmable infrastructure is automation and DevOps by being able to streamline uh, workflows or operations. Okay, and autonomous appliance, there's built-in automation and machine learning that will be able to optimize system resources. That is basically the capability to move workloads based on the right performance requirement. No? It's having the capability to migrate workloads real time, live, from one appliance to another based on the demand of the requirement. Okay. And lastly is the proactive health analytics. So it's all about smart monitoring. I'll mention earlier what that smart monitoring software is, at the latter slide. And lastly, PowerStore is adaptable. No, flexible architecture is the capability, or not the capability, but it's how we integrate this new container-based software within PowerStore. No, it allows us to continuously uh, uh, update, develop the software running on PowerStore, no? And provides customers with a much more resilient storage solution. Okay. PowerStore can also be deployed with a VMware hypervisor. So customers can actually run virtual machines directly onto the storage array. And that capability is more on edge use cases. No? If there's a edge environment that requires small applications, that requires massive storage. So that's one use case of that. Okay. So one thing that we understand with regards to storage solutions is all about data migration. No? It's all about how do we get from point A to point B with regards to the new storage technology. And for existing Dell EMC storage customers, we make it easy for them, no, to transition to PowerStore. No? One of the key tenets of PowerStore is reducing time to value. No? And this shows that uh, all of these Dell Technologies storage solutions, no, Unity, SC Series, Equalogic, VNX, no, all of these customers have that direct migration path or that seamless migration, no, towards the PowerStore uh, or the new PowerStore, no, into this new storage array, and be able to migrate those existing platforms towards this new platforms itself. Okay. So most importantly, it's all about maximizing investment. So you all know about future proof. So it's all about 4:1 data reduction guarantee. It's all about our 3-year satisfaction guarantee, anytime upgrades, no, and also flexible payment solutions. No? This is all about how customers will be able to maximize their investment. No? Be able to utilize them effectively in a longer life cycle. And the systems management software that provides the cloud-based. No, this is cloud-based. No, this is different from Open Managed Enterprise. So Open Managed Enterprise is more of that on-prem solution. But when you're looking at leveraging cloud-based built-in analytics, proactive monitoring, and predictive analytics across our full infrastructure portfolio, that is Cloud IQ. Okay. So it will be able to identify issues, expedite troubleshooting, no, anticipate business needs, single pane of glass view of the data center in that cloud-based portal. Okay. Yeah, so I think I have a few minutes left now. So again, at the end of the day, no, your application and workloads is what brings data to life. No? It's what brings our customers' businesses to life. There could be traditional applications like VMs, digitizing records, ERP and CRM systems, and so on. And these applications are all still critical, no, to keep the lights on of their business. But legacy infrastructure is not designed to support next gen applications, no, like AI, analytics. So, in order to succeed, no, in order for them to succeed, they need a consistent infrastructure, no, that can handle both. traditional and next-gen applications without compromising performance. Okay, and to summarize, we know that as Dell, we have that comprehensive portfolio of solutions. We have that breadth of innovative, modern infrastructure solutions designed to adapt, scale, create those business value for our customers. And these solutions are smart, they're efficient, they're intuitive to manage. Our infrastructure solutions is designed to simplify complex processes in a multi-cloud world. And of course, IT expertise. As you can leverage Dell as a reliable partner uh, dedicated to your customer success, to win over their workloads using our solutions.